Alright guys, well, this putting the starter in the van has become quite the debacle. Um, I got a new starter and put it in and hit the key, and it just, you could hear the starter spin. The new starter, you could hear it spin, but it wouldn't engage the flex plate or the ring gear, whatever you want to call it. So I took the new starter back out, took it up to O'Reilly's, and had my brother-in-law. My brother-in-law works at O'Reilly's part-time for some extra money, and took it up there and had them tested on the machine, and it tested out fine. It's a brand new start. It's a new starter, so brought it back home. I hooked up all the wires to it and everything, and grounded the case of the starter to the bell housing, and with a jumper cable, and had my wife go in and hit the key so I could see, if maybe the relay was messed up or something, and just spinning the starter, but not actually, shooting the starter drive out or whatever. It worked fine. So I can conclude that the starter is good, the relay is good, the wiring to the starter is good, the ignition switch is good, the flex plate, which I'll insert a picture of here, not missing any teeth, not ground up looking, it looks totally fine. And there's only one way to put the new starter in. It only goes in one way. You can't put it in with like the cone facing the wrong way to where the teeth are like on the opposite side of the flywheel. You can't do that. It has three mounting hole. Well, it has two mounting bolts and then one alignment pin. And I've taken it out and put it in 3 times. I'm just basically at a loss. I have no idea what the problem is. The old starter was in fact bad, so it's not like I replaced the starter when it was really some other problem. I mean, we tested the old starter at O'Reilly's and it was junk. It just clicked and wouldn't. It was locked up. The new starter works fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I thought maybe, my battery could be, not up to par or whatever. I had jumper cables on my mother-in-law's, like brand new Tahoe, so I know that's not the deal. And so I don't know. It'll just spin. I mean, you can hear the starter zzz, you can hear it spinning, but for some reason it won't engage the flex plate. I'm out of ideas. It's and I made sure and looked at it, and it's mounted in there flush. There's no gap between the starter and the bell housing. I mean, it's installed the way it's supposed to be installed. And I mean, the flex plate, the old starter engaged the flex plate until the starter went out. So it can't be anything to do with that. I just have no idea. And I've tried asking people and stuff like that, but it's like half the people I ask want to call it like a flywheel and stuff, and it's not a flywheel, it's a flex plate. And so like I don't trust like a normal, person that might, know about cars or tinker around or so. I need like an ASC certified mechanic that has worked at a dealership on brand new cars for like 25 years. I need an actual technician's advice, not somebody who can pull a small block out of a 76 Bronco or whatever the crap under oak tree in the backyard. You know, we've all done that. That's, you know, this is a specific set of problems, or a specific problem that's going to require some sort of insight that I don't have. You know, I thought maybe I might need to turn the motor over, but in the position that the motor is in now, you know, the old starter engaged it, so why, you know, why won't the new one? You know, it's the right starter. It's not the wrong starter. It's the only starter that O'Reilly's listed for that vehicle. It's the only one, so it's the right one. I don't know. Like I said, it can't be any of my wiring or anything like that, or the relay or anything like that, because I hooked up the wires to the starter without installing the starter, and grounded the starter to the bell housing with a jumper cable, and it worked like it was supposed to. It came out and spun. And I can hear it when I turn the key. I can hear it click out and spin. Zzz! I mean, it'll spin as long as I hold the key. The starter's working the way it's supposed to. For some reason, it just will not engage the flywheel. And I thought maybe, I don't know if I have anything to kind of show or not. I don't know. We'll see. See if this will work. I thought maybe if you would imagine this being the flex plate, or the ring gear, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so it would have, you know, teeth all over here. And the starter is the correct teeth. It's 10 tooth. So anyways, imagine like this being the, I don't have anything around. Oh well. Imagine this being like the starter gear. I thought maybe it was like coming out and hitting like maybe the back side of it with like maybe some part of the starter or something, and then spinning behind it or something. You know, it's supposed to come all the way forward and meet it. Maybe it was like hitting the back of it, or I don't know. There's no way I can know that without installing like a, you know, plexiglass bell housing that you can see through or something. You know, there's no way that I can know. I just thought maybe I'd make this video and see if there was any, you know, actual technicians, you know, and I guess if any of you know what the answer is, you know, I just don't want to be bothered with a lot of people sending me messages about, oh, you know, did you check the battery? And like, come on, you know. I'm plenty competent to change a starter. I mean, you know, it's 2 wires and 2 bolts. So, I don't know. And the motor's not locked up or any stupid crap like that. It ran until the starter went bad. And I know the starter went bad because we tested it, and it was a bad starter. And the starter that I have now is a good starter. So if it ran right up until the starter went out, okay, and I take the old starter out and put a brand new duplicate starter right back in that's good, wouldn't you figure that it would just, you know, go ahead and work? If it worked before with the old starter until the starter went bad, and you fixed the starter problem, now how is there a new problem? I don't get it. I guess it's beyond me. I don't know. I've tested and checked everything I can think of. Like I said, battery's not the problem. Ignition switch is not the problem. The relay is fine. The wiring to the starter is fine. Because while I had the starter out, I had the wires hooked up to it and had it grounded to the bell housing, where I could hold the starter in my hand and look at it, and it worked. It worked the way it was supposed to. But as soon as I stick it in and then turn the key, it just spins. I mean, the starter is still seeming like it's working the way it's supposed to. I can hear it spinning. It's just not engaging the flex plate. So, I don't know. I just don't want to be overburdened with messages, you know, about the simple stuff. I've checked all that, you know. Um, I shouldn't have to spin the motor over, you know. I mean, I've turned that starter 15 or 20 times, the new one, 15 or 20 times, so it would be in a random position each time, like you would think it would, you know. I don't know. Anyway, if anybody is an actual technician, this is a very specific problem that's going to be nearly impossible to diagnose without... I'm not paying a shop hundreds of dollars to tear half the motor and transmission apart. Like, that's ridiculous. I'm just not doing it. I mean, we'll just... But until I get it fixed, there's not going to be any videos. There's, you know... The garden out there is going to be totally shot. I mean, I can't get... It's 12 or 13 miles away. How many, you know, I'm not going to walk there. So all that was basically for nothing. If I don't get those blocks done this summer, that puts me off a whole nother year. You can't do blocks in the wintertime. When it rains, it pours.